Good afternoon. I hope that you have some good time during lunch. And now, resting a bit while attending this session on the Green Deal. So I'm here to share with you some of my experience, I should say our experience. First, myself as the chairman of the Economic, Social and Cultural Council of the Royal Government of Cambodia, with a kind of a think tank for the Council of Ministers and the Prime Minister Office. I'm also here in my capacity as a member of the United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network Leadership Council, chaired by Professor Jeffrey Sachs, and also with my team at Chhem Kieth University, and we have the honor to have Tan Sri Michael Yo as a visiting professor at our university. Chhem Kieth and the Asian Vision Institute, or other think tank, non-governmental think tank, we are about to publish a book on the Green Deal called Green Dream. So this session here is more like a interactive, looking at how will the Asia-Pacific Green Deal benefit business in the region. So from my research and input from my team, we have worked as a team. We have come out with 4 items in a form of a short question and answers. So certainly, if you want to answer this question, you'd like to see how this Asia-Pacific Green Deal will promote green technology. So this Asia-Pacific Green Deal, if implemented effectively, always more difficult to implement than to write a strategy. If implemented effectively, this Green Deal can promote green technology for sustainability and smart cities in the region through the following means. So one, this Green Deal offers a framework and incentives in the Asia-Pacific region, encouraging renewable energy adoption and energy efficiency technology. This indeed will reduce reliance on fossil fuels and cut the carbon footprint, and at the end will help us fighting this serious climate change. Number 2, investment capital can support eco-friendly solutions like electrical vehicles, efficient public transport, and smart city infrastructures. These investments enhance resource management, transportation efficiency, and overall, what we all try to achieve, sustainability of our planet. That's the first one. The second question is, how will the Asia-Pacific Green Deal open new markets for green businesses and sustainable production in this Asia-Pacific region? I think it can go through 4 points. First is awareness and education. This Green Deal can certainly raise awareness about sustainability and green product through campaigns and education, encouraging sustainable production. By education, I meant formal education in school, starting early, and also public education through traditional media, and now we have a chance of using those very influential social media. Number 2, we can look at regulatory support. If we can work with government regarding policy to implement this strategy, including tax incentives, most importantly, that promote sustainable practices in the private sector and also in public sector. And number 3, how can this Green Deal bring financial support that can provide funding options such as grant and low interest loans, making it financially viable for green businesses. For this financial support, I think it's crucial to promote the practice of public-private partnership. Everyone has a role and a responsibility in combating the climate change. And lastly is the market development. The initiative can conduct marketing research, can facilitate technology transfer, and promote international standards that in turn foster a conducive environment for green business to thrive. So that's the second question. I try to be brief because interacting with the audience and the panel is more exciting soon. So the third question that we come up in a team is that asking this one: what cost-saving steps does the Asia-Pacific Green Deal take to boost business competitiveness with green technology? There are many ways. First, investment in innovation. That's important. It seems obvious. The Green Deal allocates funds for green technology, research and technology development to create more efficient solutions, benefiting both the environment and business competitiveness. I think smart companies, smart corporations know that investing in innovation is boosting competitiveness, and innovation is about investment, not a cost. Again, regulatory support, as we said, if you introduce tax incentives, subsidies, and carbon pricing mechanism can reduce the financial burden on companies adopting green tech. It's always finding a balance. Fighting climate change means investing more. If you invest more, the profit margin will drop. But for the long run, I think any company will benefit from that. So you need a short-term and a long-term. A short-term, make sure that you balance your income, the investment, the capital that you have invested, cash flow, everything with the investment innovation, but at the same time make sure that you can benefit in the mid and long run. Number three is how to make funding accessible. This Green Deal establishes, hopefully, mechanism for affordable green project financing and lowering costs for businesses. So all this will involve government and development partner, particularly in developing country and indeed the private sector. And last but not least is the capacity building and collaboration is important. You can have a strategy, you can have funding, you need people. So investing in leadership, workforce, training, and collaboration among businesses, research institutions, and government bodies will accelerate this green tech adoption, improving competitiveness and reducing cost. So, getting involved and addressing the Green Deal to fix, hopefully, in a not so long horizon, the consequences of the climate change need a change of mindset. Same thing can be said of digital transformation is more happening in the mindset of people, in the mind of people, behavior as a team, than just the material and financial investment. So capacity building, human capital is important. And this, I would like to link this to my previous remark, is that public education, formal education, starting young is a condition for a success in the future. And the last point, number 4, is another question of what benefits come to business joining the Asia-Pacific Green Deal in terms of reputation, customers, and partnership. Business, like you have so many challenges, but now with what happened in the world, disruption of the world order, disruption of the supply chain economy downturn, and then now you're asked to make more sacrifice and investment for the climate change. That's too much. So you have to be able, the leaders in the Green Deal have to be able to communicate, to engage, to influence the leader of the private sector and the government, that if you were to do that, benefits will come to your business. Joining, I found through my research, my team found an acronym that Asia Pacific Green Deal, APGD, could be also Association for the Promotion of Good Deeds, kind of promoting social responsibility. for the corporate world that can benefit businesses in terms of reputation, customers, and partnerships in three different ways. First, I think it's enhanced your reputation. Everybody is talking about Green Deal now. So if you start to involve in that, business will gain reputation for social responsibility and ethical practices, which can attract socially conscious consumers. Yeah. Particularly the younger generation, YZ, they're not like people of my generation from the baby boomers. We came from war, want to consume, didn't care much about the environment. But this young generation, and they're more and more numerous, they are very environmental conscious. So by showing that the company invests in that Green Deal, you gain reputation among the future generation, and young generation are future consumers, are future leader that investing. So investing in Green Deal is investing in the future. Also, you can help, this approach can help in increasing customer loyalty. We found out that if you were to do that, you engage in philanthropic activities through the Asia-Pacific Green Deal. This can foster customer loyalty and mostly trust. Trust is important. And strategic partnership by joining this Asia-Pacific Green Deal. This provides networking opportunity to establish partnership with like-minded organizations and people. It's like this meeting here, the GCET 2023. When I talk with my colleagues, at a coffee break or lunch, we found out that actually we share a lot of common values, and that's as a group we strengthen our values, working together for prosperity of the whole world, all combined together. So this strategic partnership is very, very important. And last is we found out, interestingly, on market differentiation, that this Green Deal, the business can stand out in a crowded market because of fierce competition, because of the current situation in the globe, by showing a commitment to social causes through this membership. So all these are about changing the behavior. So with this, what I found with my colleagues, that a few points that would help us guiding, showing direction if we wish to pivot towards a green growth. And I hope that the panelists will continue to discuss all these points. And other point, maybe you agree, disagree with me, but in this kind of a panel, disagreement also is a step toward a progress for finding the right solution. And with this, I will end my talk here, and I need to be excused. I have a quick Zoom meeting with the cabinet, and we'll come back to listen to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency, Dr. Chhem Kieth Rethy. I think his visionary, inspiring speech can let us know more about what we can do to Asia-Pacific Green Deal, or even the ASEAN Green Deal, which Cambodia has proposed last year. All in all, I think there are many things that are happening positively, because people from all ages are now working together. So it's not only about whether our generation or older generation do not know what to do, but actually we do. And with our experience, we can even break the many challenges that we can help with our younger generation. Allow me to just give you this sharing, a 3-minute sharing, because I would like to share these views with you all. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished government and business leaders, I stand before you today as a moderator to discuss a topic of utmost importance and urgency, the provoking towards green growth and the new opportunity it presents in the green economy. It is undeniable that the global landscape is rapidly changing, and the need for sustainable solution has become more pressing than ever before. Today, I'm sure that the panelists can inspire and motivate each one of you to embrace this transition towards a greener future and highlight how the Asia-Pacific Green Deal can benefit business in the region. Green technology and green energy are the pillars that will power our journey towards great sustainability. The world is increasingly recognizing the importance of reducing our carbon footprint and embracing renewable energy sources. As government and business leaders, you have a unique opportunity to lead the way in adopting and promoting green technologies. By investing in research and development, supporting innovation, and incentivizing the adoption of clean energy solutions, you will not only contribute to a healthier planet, but also tap into a vast array of new business opportunities. I mean, Our Excellency has just earlier shared his views of the many challenges, but actually all the challenges are the good opportunities that we can really look into it. So imagine the impossibilities that lie ahead. Smart cities where cutting-edge technologies are seemingly integrated to optimize energy consumptions, improve transportation system, and enhance the overall quality of life for citizens. Green mobility solutions that reduce our dependence on fossil fuel and pave the way for electric vehicles and sustainable transportation network. Sustainable production methods that minimize waste, conserve resources, and promote circular economy models. These are not just distant dreams, they are the reality of the dream. So I hope the upcoming discussion, which the panelists are sharing, will talk about the Asia-Pacific Green Deal, which can provide a unique advantage for business in the region. It sets the stage for collaboration, knowledge sharing, and resource mobilization, fostering a supportive environment for green entrepreneurs and businesses to strive. The Green Deal offers a framework for policy alignment, regulatory harmonization, and financial incentive that can spur innovation and attract investment. By aligning this business strategy with the Green Deal, you can position yourself as pioneers. So without further ado, allow me to introduce the first panelist, Ms. Esther An. She is the Chief Sustainability Officer of City Developments Limited of Singapore. He has very vast experience in sustainability with decades of down-to-earth program. Hello, Esther. The floor is yours.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me. My apologies that I can't make the trip here because of other prior commitment. And well, definitely we are all very excited about these Asia-Pacific Green Deals. And if I could just, showcase that it is doable and it is really possible to apply to businesses that make good use of actually right on the 5 pillars of this Green Deal, which included like green energy, finance, circular economy, infrastructure, and innovation. So just to give the context of, CDL, which I work for, is headquartered in Singapore. We are celebrating our 60th anniversary this year. We have a global presence of 28 countries and regions and 140 over locations. So our core business is to build home and residential and commercial property, and also as a landlord. And we have a global hotel footprint of 150 properties. So we know that building sector has a high carbon footprint, accounting for almost 40% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And we are not just building spaces or, infrastructure, but we need to build communities. And that is also why we feel that we are really aligned with these 5 pillars of the Asia-Pacific Green Deal. And it really, can help us turn risks to opportunities, like the previous speakers have touched on. And if I could just, highlight a couple of them. And also, in fact, these 5 pillars are also very aligned with the global goal that it is about race to zero. Since 2021, the campaign at Glasgow, COP26, Race to Zero, has gained huge momentum from different parts of the world, from all parts of the world, I would say. And together, cities, organizations, businesses who have actually pledged to net zero has hit more than 90% of global global GDP. So this is really a force for change. And the Asia Pacific region is a fast growing region, whether it is on, urbanization or, population growth and business and economic growth. Asia Pacific is a really growth and dynamic area. So for first pillar of the Green Deal is to advance a zero carbon, affordable and resilient energy system. So for CTL, we have actually pledged for net zero since 2021, looking at the whole life cycle. And we have pledged for 2 phases. The first phase is operational net zero by 2030. And then the second phase is by 2050, we have the global portfolio with all the assets in 28 countries and regions to be net zero. It is not going to be easy to even turn one building to be net zero, but, turning all the whole world, our global portfolio into net zero is really quite challenging. And that is why we want to, learn by doing. And by 2030, we have all our new developments and property under our direct ownership and operation to be net zero. And our specific targets of 247,000, square meter of total floor area and more than about 60,000, tons of CO2 emissions are all posted online, and it is according to the World Green Building Council's framework and also backed by science-based target initiatives. And this is also aligned with our, CDP pledge as well. CDP is actually the largest global NGOs to measure climate, carbon, and also water management and forest management. So we need to set very specific target and set the goal for our own internal stakeholder as well as external stakeholder, our value chain of, consultant, contractor, supplier to be on board together to, charge towards the net zero goal. And the second pillar of the Green Deal is actually building a smart, low carbon, water secure and climate resilient cities, infrastructure and mobility. And people spend about 90% indoor. So how you use the building, whether at home, at work or at play, it makes a huge difference. And how we design and build and what material we procure is also very important to move the needles. So we have actually shared with our supplier very clear framework. We call it the 3S Green Building Framework. It's about super low energy. It's about smart. The third S is actually sustainable. So we have very clear policies and, to communicate with our stakeholder, we can't just tell them something very vague. If we don't have policy list out what should be done and what, can be avoided, it's very hard for the supply chain to follow, our, direction. And the third pillar is about mobilizing funds, finance, like Excellency was talking about. There are technology, there are solutions, and to transition to a greener economy, but they don't come cheap or come free. So sustainable finance is very important. And in 2017, we have the honors to roll out the first green bond by a Singapore company. That is to help us to refinance our flagship building at headquarters, 64-story high, 280-meter tall Republic Plaza, to actually maintain the building's energy efficiency and water efficiency. And since then, we have already talked up more than $3 billion of green finance on sustainable, sustainability-linked loan and green loans as well. So the first the fourth pillar is actually about scaling up innovation for sustainable development. So this is an area that we invest in local innovator. We also invest in, capital, venture capital in overseas as well to bring in technology and all. And I'm not going into the details of it. We are also, partnering with some of the university in R&D as well. So last but not least, we need to change towards a more circular economy. And research actually show that in order to transition the world to a low carbon future, 55% rely on energy solutions, but 45% can rely on circular economy solutions. Well, I think my time is up. I will just, leave it to later to share more. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you for your visionary views. I think you have highlighted the importance of how we can work together, but actually in a way that we can do it on our own, but as a collective effort, because everybody, the circumstances, the pace are different. Okay, so you can do whatever you think is right, and this is what the Asia Pacific Green Deal is all about. Encouraging people to start from yourself, whether your country or your district, your city is doing something which are very, inspirational, support them, and then we can somehow, collaborate with other cities and other institutions in a meaningful way. So doing goodness and justice is what the Asia Pacific Green is all about. But anyhow, thank you for Esther for your first your comment. May I introduce to our second panelist, Mr. Stanley Loh. He's the CEO of the World Capacity Builders, Inc. in Canada. Hi, Stanley. Can you hear us or?
I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry I cannot be in Shenzhen, such a beautiful city. It has grown since the first time I went there was a village. I'm an old man in a hurry. While the climate is getting bad, I don't have many more years left on beautiful earth, so I want to leave it much better than when I came from. My playground is in South Sumatra, where we have about 90,000 hectares of green. But the green are in forms of rubber land, oil palm land, which was once natural forest. And we want to repurpose the old rubber land and the oil palm plantations back to natural forest. That's what World Capacity Builders does. We try to convince people that own forests not to cut another tree. We try to make them produce the oxygen that we all live for. And by doing so, we will earn carbon credits that will help the local people living there survive. That's what we do. And in doing so, we need a lot of funding. We need a lot of technologies to protect the biodiversity. We need to protect the mangroves, the sea grasses, the peatlands. That's what we do. I just came from that area about 30 days ago. I went and visited that whole area, including Aceh, where Aceh province is a very poor province, and they are going to change their outlook. They are engaging us to assist them to become a greener province in Indonesia. So they are going to leverage their natural resources to help us make Aceh greener. What they're doing today with their rice fields is after harvest, they burn the rice residues. We don't want them to do that anymore. We want them to repurpose the rice residues into making into fertilizers, into making polymeric carbon solids, into ANG, which is adsorbed natural gas. Those kinds of technologies are available, and we are trying to set up those kinds of technologies in Aceh to help them reduce their carbon footprint. And at the same time, make their soils better, produce better food, more food, and make them diversify their crops, their products. We will also be turning the oil palm waste into polymeric carbon solids, or PCS, which is a better class of biochar and will have a higher energy density for the cement plants or the steel plants. Instead of them burning coal, we want them to burn biofuel. And that in itself will do a lot for us to reach what Esther was saying, the race to zero. My race is very fast, but I'm losing time. And that's what I want to say tonight.
Thank you, Stanley. I like your sharing, where you want to do the best with your timing. I mean, this is what any other people in the world would like to contribute, right? I mean, the word green nowadays is no longer just about environmental friendly. Actually, this has been redefined in the UN as, for whatever you do for goodness and kindness with justice, with righteousness, this is already green. So it's more than what we can imagine. So I think in that context, a lot of people can do a lot of things together, because it's not about doing one single projects because of one objective. So doing good is unlimited, so you can do whatever, but as long as this is with justice. So I think the Asia-Pacific Green Deal, this is what we are talking about. We would like to inspire a lot of people by telling them a very simple story. Just do it. No need to think, because this is so right to do so. So the thing that the Asia-Pacific Green Deal will be, they will be launching a number of campaigns, to make sure that all our friends will know what we are talking about in a different context, in a different level. So thank you again, Stanley. May I also introduce the third panelist, Miranda Lui, who is the founder and managing director of MES Group, director and also Hong Kong and World Chinese Enterprising Association. Floor is yours. Miranda, yeah.
Thank you very much for introducing me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, my name is Miranda. I'm from Hong Kong, and I'm actually from the construction and built environment industry. And something that I would like to share about the green economy today is, well, by training, I'm a professional land surveyor. As I say, that I'm from the construction industry. And we do realize, from myself, from my company level, or even from the association level that we realize that climate change is very important. So I would like to share something more on the, we need some solutions. Sustainability is definitely very important, and how we go ESG approach. So it will be something, on the technical approach that I would like to share that we have been doing through my company, MES Group, and also the association that we are supporting, globally, how we implement this to help the climate change for sustainability. So since we are focusing on the technical approach, and we realize that over 40% of the carbon emission is actually from buildings, constructions. So from the technical perspective, we will be focusing on the technical solutions for reducing carbons on the building levels on the technical side. So we have the two perspectives. One is more for the new building, starting from the design level, focusing on to reduce the embodied carbon. So this is, we call it the BIM for sustainability. So BIM, I'm sure some of you will know that for digital construction, BIM is Building Information Modeling. So by using this kind of digital technology, we work against starting from the design level. So as soon as the design has started, we will be using this model, a BIM model, and then capturing all the quantity, material use, and all these different parameters into the model. And then we will calculate this automatically. We'll use, tend to be, everything digitized. Since BIM is already a digital model, and everything, the project management, the workflow, everything will be on the digital level. So we are managed to calculate, to quantify the carbon emission at the very early stage by using different of materials. So at the design level, we'll be managed to have different options for decision maker to make decision whether which options or which design is the most appropriate for that situation. So we have this kind of BIM for sustainability, and it works very well. And we have a project implementing in Hong Kong and Malaysia at the design level. So once we have that, we also will focus on another perspective on the new buildings. New buildings, everywhere. Shenzhen, definitely. Buildings everywhere, concrete everywhere. Hong Kong, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, all these, first tier of cities, buildings is definitely something that we need to focus. So we also have a solution that I would like to also share that, on the new buildings. It's called ESG Carbon. So there's a project, a couple of projects. The pilot projects is been implementing in Hong Kong, in Malaysia, that we are focusing on the hospitals or maybe hotel, one of the places that we will convert the existing building, for example, the hospital, from 2D, from the drawings, the 2D drawings, and then convert it into 3D model, into a BIM model. So once we have this BIM model, we will be managed to work out all this, the information, everything in the model to help us to facilitate, to calculate the carbon emission, to quantify the carbon emissions. And then as well as we will be implementing the smart FM in the building so that we will be able to install the IoT sensors to collect all the, the humidity, air pollution, temperature, waste, and all these things automatically. And then once we collect all this data, and we have electricity bill, we have gas, we have water, and all these things, everything we will collect on the same platform through the smart FM system. And then we will be able to accurately to work out how much carbon emission by that particular building. For example, the hotel, hospital. And then we will do analysis through this system to have the different information and the analytical report to support the energy efficiency. How we optimize different systems to focus to reduce the carbon as effectively. And then at the same time, we will be able to collect environmental data by this smart FM, all this IoT sensor, all this system, and then as well as to focusing on the ESG reporting. And this is, we are also very concerned on. Some of our countries, the listed company, they will need to produce a ESG reporting enhancement every year. So this system will be able also to support from the existing, the digitized building, and then through the smart FM collecting data, and then we will work out through the system for the carbon quantification to focus on energy efficiency as well as ESG reporting from the system. Yeah, I think time is about, and so this is the case that I would love to share with you all more. So maybe later on after this section, we can have a more discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miranda. I think you have pointed out very important points in looking forward how we should deal with this green economy. So it's no longer, nowadays we have green economy, we have green circular economy, we have sustainability, we have 17 SDG. There are so many different names or terms that we have to work with, okay? But I can tell you that, all in all, these are all very, I would say, well and managed global standards where we should be able to follow. Because even Asia Pacific Green Deal, we are talking about global standards now. So framework standards where different countries should be following. So it's no longer just about a single issue. So, I hope Miranda's, comment can also give you like this. There are a lot of things happening in this reset mode of the world. Okay, so unless we are forward-thinking and visionary enough, that we have to prepare ourselves to do all these, prepare for all these changes. If not, you're out, frankly speaking. But anyhow, allow me to introduce the fourth speakers, Dr. Kirida Bhaopichitr. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kirida, and I'm from a policy think tank in Thailand called the Thailand Development Research Institute. So we actually look at the bigger picture of things here to see how the transition towards the green economy poses a lot of pressures for developing countries, like many of us sitting in this room. But at the same time, it also brings about many opportunities, as many of the speakers before me have already mentioned. So just let me first, mention to you that this transition towards a green economy, towards lower greenhouse gas emissions, is real. And the pressure on us will not go away anytime soon. And I can cite a few. For example, the developed countries, for example, the European Union has already implemented its carbon tax, right? The CBAM, which all exporters who will export to the EU will be taxed if their products have a carbon footprint of above the standards that's mandated by the EU. So this is already a pressure that is upon it. It's very real. In addition to that, of course, if you're now looking for financing from investors overseas, whether they be banks in your country or even foreign direct investments that are coming from overseas, or even portfolio investors, they are looking for businesses that are green, right? There's a green premium for the stocks of companies that are green. If you look at the BlackRock's report on stock prices around the world, there is that green premium is very real. And of course, there was a very interesting survey by BlackRock asking the institutional investors, why do you care? Why do you want to invest in companies that have a very good ESG rating? And the answer was very interesting. 50% said because they think it's the right thing to do. So if it's a belief of investors, it's very hard to change. So that's a very telling evidence that this is real and it's here to stay. Of course, as the minister also mentioned, that now even consumers, right, are more inclined towards greener products, especially the younger generation. And if you want to attract younger generation or talent to work in your offices, on your workplace, they care. They care much more than us up here about ESG. There was actually a survey done in Thailand asking people of different age groups, to prioritize between growth, economic growth, and and environmental issues. And guess what? People who are over 59, would say 50% would prioritize growth, 50% prioritize, the environmental issues. But the younger they go, by the time you reach those who are in their 25 to 35, the balance is tipped. Only 30% says we prioritize growth. 70%, on the other hand, says, we want, a better environment. So young people actually really focus, on these issues. So this is just to say that the pressures are all over, right? If you're working with multinational companies, you will already feel that because many multinational companies have set their net zero targets, and they definitely would pressure their supply chains as well to reduce their carbon footprint. So the pressures are coming from everywhere. They're very real. So, there are things now that, I think, we can do, and it's an opportunity for us. So yes, I know it's costly to go green, but if you don't do that, it will hurt you, in the very near term. It's not even in the long run. So opportunities are plenty, right? You can actually think about many of the businesses that the speakers before me have mentioned in the construction industry, in the housing industry, or even carbon credits. We're growing forests now. Of course, there are also many opportunities in the energy sector because one of the most polluting sectors is energy, and the next is transport, and of course construction as well. So there's a lot of business opportunities around these three sectors, right? Just as a start. Energy, renewable energy, storage of energy, a lot of opportunities there. Ecosystem for the whole electrical vehicles, right? Transition towards hydrogen in the future. So it opens up a lot of businesses that never existed before. On the other hand, on the transport industry, I've mentioned EV. On the construction industry, Miranda has also mentioned many of the activities that can come about. And of course, the very important thing that each company would now probably have to face, and this is an opportunity for consulting companies to come in, is that you would have to be able to measure, right, the actual carbon emissions or the greenhouse gas emissions that you produce. So how do you go about doing that, right? So again, this is a big area of new business that has come up in terms of just measuring the greenhouse gas emissions. So my last point is that, it's now therefore a good opportunity for us to come together, right, as ASEAN, as businesses in ASEAN, as governments in ASEAN, to actually, minimize, these pressures and also maximize the opportunities that we have. So the ASEAN Green Deal, for example, is a great initiative that will help all of us think about how do you, come up with a framework, a taxonomy, right, for measuring greenhouse gas emissions. What do we do about it? Can we exchange knowledge about, how do we tackle, greenhouse gas emissions, for example, for many manufacturing, but also agriculture. Did you know that one agriculture produce that produces the most greenhouse gas is rice? So rice actually produces a lot of methane. So how do we reduce, right, the methane footprint from agriculture as well? So that's a whole big area that I think many of the countries in Southeast Asia were agriculture, based for a long time. Although we are no longer agricultural based, but we still have a big sector of agriculture. That's something that we could also collaborate upon to learn from each other and how to reduce the greenhouse emissions from that sector as well. So, just to summarize, I think the pressures are real. But at the same time, there are lots of business opportunities. And in order to tap into those, I think we need to collaborate, as ASEAN, not only on the business side, but also on the government side as well. Because without the government, I still don't see how we can actually, move towards a lower greenhouse gas, emission footprint. Because energy itself, has a lot to do with, the government policies in each country as well. So these are just examples I would like to flag out today, Albert, and I hope we can have a discussion after this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirida. I think again, she is inspiring us to do things with the right attitude. Okay, I mean, frankly speaking, nowadays when we talk about green, I just mentioned about not only the youngster. I mean, anybody who wants to do business. I mean, if you can earn or create a business that can earn happy money, but at the same time do good things. This is about goodness and kindness. And as I said, it's with righteousness. I mean, a lot of people would like to involve and create. And this is what is happening in the world nowadays, because you don't have to apply to any government institution to do good. But sometimes, because the way how you do is the right thing to do, people will support you. Let them know that you are doing it, because there are breakthroughs all the time. So anyhow, thank you for this from Kirida about her comment, and allow me to introduce our last panelist, Dr. Zhenyu. He's the Vice President of Shanghai Division and Director of Department of Sustainable Development and Blue Economy Research, China Development Institute. The floor is yours, Mr. Hui.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from China Development Institute. I want to say it's an inevitable choice to develop green energy. We are on the path of AI, and we cannot come back. What we can see in recent years is dramatic increase in AI, 5G, and e-commerce devices, as well as smart city, intelligent government, and intelligent company. Behind them is innumerable data center server backed by a huge energy consumption. And in China, energy consumption of each data center has tripled in recent years. In US, energy consumption used for AI model will increase 20% in the next 10 years. Let me take another example. Take Vader GPU chip used for AI as example. One hand nowadays used in China and other countries its energy consumption, it will cost energy as well as 10 times 10 years ago of a server. So what can we do? What can we do? We can not bear the carbon burden caused by a traditional energy consumption. So we have to change from traditional energy to green energy. Let's take Guangdong province, China, as example. Guangdong province has developed several offshore wind power station with 10 gigawatt installed capacity in recent years, and we'll double them, and we'll double it, and we'll build next several offshore wind power station with 10 gigawatt in next 3 to 5 years. And it's not enough. Guangdong province has planned this 20 gigawatt offshore power located near shore. And Guangdong province has planned another 40 gigawatt offshore wind power station, which will be completed in the next 10 years. So what I want to say is it's inevitable for us to develop a green energy. We Asian Pacific countries has plenty wind power and solar power, so we have to do more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. He, for your views of these powers, green powers. You know, I think what the world facing now are many things at the same time, but because this summit is called the Global Chinese Economic and Technology Summit, I would like to point out some views of what we think about the whole thing. You know, how the approach when we talk about different powering growth, technology, and regional prosperity. I mean, China has been doing a lot of successful program, in the past 10 years, and it also learned. They learn a lot. They make mistakes. I think nowadays it's just that, whether all other countries are joining hands together, because this is also very important when we want to go for green economy, green growth. This has been, promoted in Asia, in Europe for over 20 years. But how are we going to achieve that? This is not about just talking about green, the word green, then it is workable in many senses. It's that China and certainly many other Asian countries, many Asian countries also have invented or created a lot of programs, meaningful programs. I think these are the things that we have to learn from the past. And also with this summit, I hope it's not only the technology, it's about the application of what we are going to achieve, because this is very important. We are no longer lacking of technology. There are solutions, but it's about application, how we are going to apply meaningfully and effectively. With that, then we will have even for green financing. I mean, why do we have a green financing? Some people thought are we doing, energy consumption with some restriction that we have to follow? But it's not like that, because we have multiple objectives and goals to do good. As I just mentioned, this is what the green growth, green economy, or the Asia-Pacific Green Deal is all about. Doing good But how are we going to do that is a collective effort. So I think we don't restrict ourselves by thinking like whether this is time-consuming or whether this is very expensive, because the world is changing in such a way that all companies or all business sectors are changing. They are following the international law, so international standard system. So I think this is what we ought to understand so that we can work along with that in that angle. So I think because of that, may I also invite, from the floor, if any one of you have any questions to our panelists. Any question from the floor? Oh, okay. There's somebody from the floor in the middle. Can you give a mic to him?
Okay, please.
谢谢各位嘉宾的分享啊。我是在深圳做这个科创产学研方面工作的。我的问题是请教各位嘉宾，怎么样跟就是我们华人世界的华人是吧，包括东盟的，今天在座的各位嘉宾，如何跟中国有更好的落地的合作？ 我们应该采取哪些具体的措施？这个方法跟中国一起来实现我们今天所分享的这些战略。谢谢。
谢谢。Allow me to just translate into English. This gentleman is asking, what are the things that the Chinese around the world nowadays can do know how to figure out? In developing with a big trend in green transformation. Maybe our panelists would like to answer this question, or?
I just would like to offer some of my views on this. If I understand the comment correctly, is that how can China collaborate with other ASEAN countries in order to promote a greener economy? With I think China actually has a lot of progress that it has made on technology, on the carbon captures, and also on electrical vehicles and energy storage. So there's a lot that we can actually learn from China. At the moment, I think what many of the Chinese either universities or research institutes or businesses are doing is they're doing like a bilateral sharing of the knowledge and businesses, right? Like I'm from Thailand. I know there are many businesses from China that's doing green sort of economy businesses in Thailand, and also universities that are collaborating with each other to develop on a greener product. So on that front, I think that's happening. But I agree with you that there should be a broader collaboration, at the ASEAN level. So I don't know, Albert, do you know if there is a vehicle that could, be a way that China can collaborate with ASEAN as a whole?
I think China is doing so, because they are not doing just for certain projects. Collectively, even for the Asia-Pacific Green Deal, we are talking about the same thing. It's just the name of the scheme, but Asia-Pacific Green is something which China is believing and is doing in a meaningful way. Probably Mr. Ho wants to answer something. Yeah.
我想用汉语就回答这位先生的提问，就是我想有3点是值得做的。第一就是政府的公共投入 必须加大。因为这个广东为什么海上风电这几年发展的是全国最快的？因为它是公共投入，从6年前就每3年10亿元就投入到这个海上风电的基础设施的研究上，而且划定风场做风场的研究，公共投入上去了之后，整个的设备供应商和风电场运营商才能咬合起来运营，这几年风电才能发育起来。所以您可能关注到半个月前粤东的竞标，就海上风场的竞标，其中150万千瓦是深圳的3家能源集团来中标的。就是它现在规定也很重要，一个就是公共基础设施投入，还有一个就是电力方面要求、配电要求，就是你上一个非绿色能源的电厂必须有绿色能源配套，而且储能的方面的设施要求也要上来，这是我说第一点。第二点呢，就是整个从亚太地区来说，我前几年我到太平洋岛国比较多一些，就是太平洋岛国实际上对海上对光伏能源的要求非常高。我去密克罗尼西亚，他们都是用重油来烧来发电，给岛上发电的。我们就邀请他，就疫情之前邀请他们能源部部长来深圳到南博集团，到麻冲到东莞的麻冲去考察，他们对光伏能源非常感兴趣，但是要求比较高的就是不能出故障，就能不能替代这个传统能源，但是如果能替代的话，它对故障的这种零故障的要求是非常高的，因为不想让这个新能源出问题。就是当时这个问题还没有解决，但是现在第一个技术水平上去了，第二个价格也下来了，第三个呢，我想说的就是整个基础研究实际上还是要跟上的。就是这几年整个包括钙钛矿的这种光伏发电的，现在技术也成熟，慢慢的在成熟。就是它对这种薄膜的厚度呀、发电的这种能源转化效率的这种支持非常大，所以基础研究和产业转化，再就是金融和人才这几个要素的一个结合起来，对新能源的发展还是非常重要的。我想，这就是我对您的一个回答，谢谢。
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ho. 谢谢何先生。I think Esther An would like to answer these questions too. Esther?
Yes. Thank you, Albert. I think definitely the gentleman who asked the question is very right. The whole world has to work together, not just ASEAN region or Asia Pacific. But I think it is hard to find one, solutions that suit every sector or every region. So I would like to just share mainly our, real estate sector, how we actually share knowledge with, the industry player in different parts of the world. For example, we have the World Green Building Council. We have 76 national councils all over the world, including China, including Hong Kong, and the ASEAN region. Most of the countries, we have, a World Green Building Council representation. So what we do is we really, through conversation, through exchange of knowledge, and also, business case, to share knowledge, to share technology solutions, or even supply chain, solutions, and also challenges. So with bringing more, ideas together, that will really help. And to mobilize funds, we also have the Asia Pacific Real Assets Association. In fact, we just had our regional annual conference in Singapore, and, we have APRIA members coming from China, Hong Kong, and different parts of the world as well. We need to bring in the investment. And most of our APRIA's members are real asset investors. So we need to, have the conversation going between the corporate and also the investor and technology provider and solution, procurer. So we bring the whole ecosystem together to look at how we can, almost like a matchmaking, because no one company needs everything or needs, all need different things, different technology. And similarly, Urban Land Institute also have very strong Asia Pacific representation. So from land sale, land planning, to building, technology, and also investment. We need to bring the whole ecosystem together. And the other one, just now, earlier on, we talked about reporting. Sustainability reporting is a global agenda now. And I must say, also agree that being an old-timer, I have done 16 sustainability reports since 2008. And the standards and the rating and it's still changing. Although ISSB, the International Sustainability, Standard Boards have worked really hard for the last 2-3 years to come up with a baseline standard for reporting. And it is still the starting point with 2 sets of standards on opportunity and challenges plus climate. And there will be more coming. And the GRI, which is the Global Reporting Initiative, which has 25 years of, reporting standards track record, both are coming together to help corporate reporters to set targets, to track performance, and to report, so that investors, bankers, and they all have the data to make the million-dollar decision. So I think definitely, we all have to, work together to interact, to exchange knowledge, and also to share data in a transparent and open manner. And with that, we can actually accelerate change and actions and move the needles, towards a net zero future. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. I hope she literally answered your concerns about how to move on. It's not that complicated as long as you're clear of what you want to do and achieve. Frankly, green or green growth or green colony, whatever new terms are named, what we want to do is to make it simple so that people can understand. So it's only a story to tell that we're doing good things. But anyway, any other questions? Oh, there's another question from the floor at the back.
Good afternoon. My name is Sim. I'm actually representing Malaysia in Green Building Council today. One of the things I'm really interested in is actually when Melinda was talking about using BIM to help improving green buildings or produce better building or green buildings. So we'd like to know, can you share with us a little bit more detail, how do you make use of BIM to help designing green buildings? Because I'm really interested, because I'm from Sabah. We are really struggling to introduce green buildings in Sabah. In the whole of Malaysia, we have about 500 green buildings, but in Sabah, we have less than 10. It's very difficult to convince people to go towards green. And when you talk about reducing carbon footprints, all our building material, majority, they are from overseas, from China, from KL, from Singapore, from everywhere. So it's very difficult to reduce the carbon footprint. So what I did is, actually, I'm the chairman for Malaysia Green Building Sabah, to introduce or to encourage the local builders to use local materials to reduce the carbon footprints. But really, I would like to know from your experience, how do you make use of BIM to help assist in designing green buildings? Thank you. Melinda, thank you.
Thank you for your question. That's very interesting. And I can use 3 words to answer your question. Policy, policy, policy. Well, definitely we'll have to start with policy, top-down, to implement BIM. I think this is very important. And then you talk about technology-wise, how we actually, implement, in your country.
Thank you. But policy is the most difficult things to implement, especially from the government side. I'm actually now working with my government, the Sabah state government, who is actually trying to influence them to implement green policy towards green buildings, or even, like, for instance, come out with policy to implement, like, insulation to buildings, roof insulation, something very simple. But even that is an uphill battle. So policy is very difficult to achieve. Thank you.
Yes, policy, and people. So technology is very simple, very easy. So I think policy and people we need to start with, and technology to follow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miranda. Thank you for answer. Thank you for a gentleman who raised this question. I think the most important nowadays is how we have to make use of this Asia-Pacific Green Deal, because this is a policy framework we are talking about. So it's no longer just a policy that you're talking about in your own city or your own district. Use that as the tools, because it's powerful, because we are doing a lot of things using Asia-Pacific Green Deal, policy or standards or system. We are applying it. So, I mean, we are certainly more than happy to share all these new views with you, because this is what we do, okay? Because we don't just talk about the problem, we have to deal with it and solve it. And there are many different good solution and which has been carried out in the past. So anyhow, thank you for your time. It's time for me to unleash the potential, the green economy, embrace the challenges and seize the opportunity that lie before you. Invest in renewable energy, promote eco-friendly technologies, and integrate energy, promote eco-friendly technology, and integrate sustainability into the core of your business operations. Collaboration with the government, NGO, and fellow businesses to create a network of like-minded individuals working towards a shared vision. In conclusion, I urge each one of you to be visionary leaders, paving the way for a greener, more sustainable future. Embrace the potential of the green economy, and let us collectively build a world where economic growth goes hand in hand with environment stewardship. The Asia-Pacific Green Deal offers a roadmap for success, and it is up to us to seize this moment. Together, let us create a legacy of sustainability that will inspire generations to come. Thank you. I think that will